Welcome to the Mindfulness Technology suite of biofeedback applications designed to support mindfulness and meditation practice. This video helps you get up and running with the applications. It covers the launcher application, which is always your starting point, and it also covers the features common to all the applications. Sensor setup and the individual applications are covered elsewhere. This is the opening screen of the launcher application. The biofeedback applications are organized under a set of tabs that you see at the top of the launcher window. There's one tab for each of the main biofeedback parameters. Each tab is organized the same way. The controls are grouped by application. Firstly, there's a button to start the application, and below that, a button to view session reports. Below that are links to user guides and then training videos. The first tab is the Setup tab. You need to configure some options before running any of the biofeedback applications, and you can do that from the Setup tab. Firstly, you need to set the type of biofeedback device that you're going to be using. Clicking this button opens a dialog window. These three controls set the source devices for the different biofeedback parameters used in the applications. Some of the devices don't work with every biofeedback modality, and in some cases you can use two different devices in combination. One of the device options is Simulator. When you select Simulator, the software simply replays a pre-recorded session, allowing you to run the applications without any device connected, which is useful when you're first learning how to use the software. In the same dialog, there's a control to select the frequency of your country's mains electricity. In the UK, this is 50 Hz. The launcher remembers these settings, so next time you run a session you don't need to worry about them. Press this button to set options relating to storage of your session data. First, you need to create or select a folder where the session data files and report files will be stored. Secondly, you can choose between single-user mode and multi-user mode. Multi-user mode allows you to create named users and is useful if you're a professional practitioner or if your friends and family will be running sessions too. This button starts a special application which checks the amplifier's batteries and something called impedance, which is to do with the quality of connection for some of the sensors. Impedance is covered in more detail in the hardware setup guide. You'll only need to use this application if you've got a problem with your setup and you can't get a good signal for some reason. Now you're ready to start one of the biofeedback applications. Choose which application and then click its button once. The biofeedback applications were developed using a third-party product called BioEra. Clicking one of the buttons launches BioEra. BioEra needs a valid license. For most users, this will be provided on a USB stick like this. You need to have this plugged in every time you run a session. Without it, BioEra will not start. Eventually you'll see a window appear. It may take a few seconds depending on how fast your computer is. Each application has its own configuration of charts and controls, but the top row of controls is the same for all applications. Some of the applications have two windows, one of which is the main window, identifiable by having these controls at the top. On the left, you have a set of buttons: play, stop, and pause. Press play to start the flow of data. Again, this may take a few seconds to take effect, but eventually some traces will appear in the charts. The button marked with an asterisk is a simple event marker. Pressing it has no visible effect in the application, but it is recorded in your session data and used in session report generation, which is covered later. At the right-hand side is an indicator of your amplifier's status. Pressing play should cause the red square to turn green. If it doesn't, then the software hasn't been able to connect to your amplifier for some reason. Whether or not you have the sensors connected doesn't make any difference to this indicator. After you've finished a biofeedback session, you can view a report of the session. Each application has its own button to open reports. You'll be prompted to select a session. Your sessions have automatically been named using a sequential session number and the date the session was recorded. Sessions for each application are stored separately. Reports are generated in HTML format, which means that you need an Internet browser application to view them, such as Firefox or Internet Explorer. This doesn't mean that your sessions have been uploaded to the web and you don't need a live Internet connection. Reports are opened in your computer's default web browser. If you press the event marker, you'll see this point marked as a dotted vertical line in the session graphs.